As a homeschooling family of 6 on one income, I understand the struggles and how hard it can be to manage the day-to-day finances, the month-to-month finances. So today I'm going to give you my top 10 tips on how to save money as a large family. Some of these tips are kind of obvious and some of them are probably things you've never heard of. I'm going to save those ones for the end. I would say as a family of our size, our biggest expense is definitely food. Kids are constantly eating throughout the day. They love to graze, they love to eat nonstop. So we are constantly trying to figure things out in that aspect. Some of my rules when it comes to food might seem a little strict, especially if you only have one child or 2 children, and even more so if they're in school. But my rules are, if I make something and you don't like it, too bad. You either eat it or you starve until the next meal. Now I do try to make sure that at least one meal a day is hitting every single kid. I only have one kid that's super difficult. The rest of them pretty much eat, for the most part, 1 to 2 things out of every meal that I cook. But there has been times where if I am not making something that that kid likes, he will go all day long without eating. And the reason for that is he doesn't like real food. He likes junky food. So if I'm not making something like corn dogs, or sometimes he likes mac and cheese, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he likes chicken nuggets, sometimes he doesn't. I never know what is gonna happen with that kid. So if I'm not making something junky like that, the kid literally won't eat. And I'm okay with that. That's my rule. This isn't a restaurant. You can't order what you want. Now I do take into account the things that he likes, and I will ask him what he wants to eat throughout the week. So usually I would say for our homeschool lunches, if there's not leftovers from the night before, then I will do things like corn dogs or chicken nuggets or the cheap pizzas, something like that. Along with food, I always try to bulk make something. For instance, pancakes, waffles, muffins. And honestly, I wouldn't say that bulk making even helps, because when I bulk make it, then it just gets eaten, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing. I don't know. So for instance, when I make muffins, I will make it 4 to 6 times what the recipe says. So I'll make 4 to 6 dozen muffins. And when I do that, I get eaten within a few days, if I'm lucky. But if I only make enough for maybe breakfast, or maybe we're having them for a snack, then that's all that gets eaten. So I don't know if that's a money saver or not. It's an option. I mean, at least I guess I'm not going to the gas station and buying chips and whatever. Kind of an obvious one is to meal plan when you don't have to go to the grocery store multiple times a week and you know exactly what is coming up. That helps save money, and along with that, I really like to order online because then I am not tempted in the store. We rarely have juice in this house. Juice is more of a treat when we are having a long day in the car or something like that. For the most part, my kids just drink water. We have a Berkey water filter and it gets filled up 2 to 3 times a day. We have popcorn for snack probably 3 to 4 times a week-ish. Some weeks is that much, some weeks it's only 1, but popcorn is a really cheap snack. I just buy the kernels and then a big huge tub of coconut oil from Azure Standard. I'll link them down below. That's where I buy a lot of our bulk food. But I just get those and I pop it on the stove in a great big thing. And actually, hold on, I made some for snack yesterday and we still have a little bit left over, so I'll show you how much. Here is my popcorn pan, kettle, whatever you want to call it. Literally just throw in basically a handful of coconut oil, let it melt, throw in enough kernels that it so that all the kernels are very coated, like pretty much the entire bottom is full of kernels and then it's coated in coconut oil. Throw the lid on and let them pop. Really easy, really cheap, really good. Another snack food that we have a lot of, and even breakfast food, is yogurt. Now if you're buying it in the store, it can be pretty spendy, but we actually make our own. And it is very, very easy to do. I do have a blog post on how to do it, so I will link that down below. But essentially, if you have an Instant Pot, throw in some milk, throw in a spoonful of yogurt, push the yogurt button, walk away, and you can have a half-gallon jar of yogurt. Now with that, you do have to flavor it yourself. So you're going to want honey or maple syrup, or even sugar is fine. We use it a lot for like dipping in apples. I use it in overnight oats for some extra good bacteria, which we use raw milk, so if you don't use raw milk, I mean, totally fine. You can still do it with traditional, conventional store-bought milk, but it's a good protein and kids eat a lot of it. When you're cooking things like ground beef, throw some beans in with there and it's gonna stretch your meat out much further. This summer, I have 3 kids in baseball, so we are constantly on the go. In the fall, we're going to be constantly on the go with football and then baseball and volleyball. We have a giant, basically 3-shelf plastic thing in the back of our car, and in that I fill it up with snacks. Now these kind of snacks are crappy snacks. They are bags of chips. They are fruit snacks. I do have some packets of cashews, which are pretty much just for me. But there's things like that, so that way when we are at things like games or if we go to the beach, whatever the case may be, when we're out and about and the kids ask for gas station things or they ask for concession stand snacks, I can have them just go to the back of the car and grab something. It saves money in the long run. And then also in that, I also have things like extra baby wipes, extra diapers, sweatshirts, you know, things that we may need randomly throughout, depending on this. Okay, let's get away from the food type things. Now let's go to the more practical side of life. Let's talk about health insurance, because health insurance can be crazy expensive. We used to pay a lot of money. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a good chunk of my husband's paycheck towards health insurance, and it was very good health insurance. However, we don't go to the doctor very much, so we were really wasting our money. So we looked into something called Christian Healthcare Ministries, and I cannot recommend them enough. We pay $515 a month. That covers me and all the kids. My husband's insurance is still free for his work, so it basically just has to cover us, so we didn't even put him on there. But it's $515 a month, and I could have 20 kids on there. It doesn't matter how many kids I have, it's always going to be right there. And there are different plan levels. We got the highest level. There are some rules along with that. Like they expect you to be healthy, take care of your body, like you can't be a smoker, that kind of stuff. There are some Christian kind of rules, if you will, for that. So if you do not follow that kind of protocol, you can't be on it. But it has saved us a lot of money, and we have had to use it. So I used it last time with my midwife. They covered 100% of the midwife, 100% of the home birth, which my husband's insurance would not do. One of my sons had, it was called a I can't even pronounce it, but basically he had this thing on his eye that we had to have surgery on. They covered 100% of it. So what's really nice about Christian Healthcare Ministries and the plan that I'm on is something could cost $1 million and it's going to be covered by, as with our old insurance, there was always a cap. There is some things with that, like when we do go to the doctor, I do have to pay if it's under $1,000. I think it's $1,000, something like that. So we don't use that very often, but when we do, when we have used it, they have been tremendous. They have helped me deal with the hospital, and one of the hospitals tried resending bills multiple times, and they actually took care of the situation for me. It was really nice. Haircuts. We do not go get the kids' haircuts. My husband does the boys' haircuts. I do the girls' haircuts. It saves us a lot of money. As far as buying gifts for me and my husband, we don't buy each other gifts. We don't get each other anniversary gifts. We don't get each other birthday gifts. No Valentine's Day, nothing. We're literally on the same bank account. If we want something, we just get it. We're not going to surprise each other. In my home, if you ever come over, you will notice that my home decor is very, for the most part, non-existent and or very old. I went to go buy some throw pillows once and I seen the price and I was like, wow, I don't need those. When I see things like that, it's not worth it to me. I would like to have my home have a little bit more decor in it, but unless I'm going to find it at a garage sale for cheap, I'm not getting it. Along with buying things, we do not buy very many paper towels. I do buy a 2-pack about once a month, but we don't go through very many paper towels. We just use rags and wash them. If you have never heard of Visible by Verizon, I have my 2 oldest kids on that plan, and I have plans to get me and my husband on that plan as soon as our contract is up. It's literally the exact same service, and it is so much cheaper. I'll link it down below. Check them out. I think we pay $25 a month per line, and as far as I can tell, there is zero difference between that and so for 2 kids, I'm paying $50 for them, and then for me and my husband and a tablet, I'm paying over just about $200. So there's a huge difference. And so far, I've had it 4 months now. I have not noticed any difference. Okay, here are the last 2 tips I have. Number 1, or number 9 if you will. Actually, as I'm thinking about this, this is way more than 10 tips. So it is not 10 tips on how to save money. It's more than that. However, anyway, if you want to buy something online, let's say I want to buy a sweater from a store called XYZ. I go to xyz.com, I type in my sweater, put it in your cart, and walk away. Within like 24 to 48 hours, you are probably going to get an email that says, oops, you forgot something in your cart, here's 15% off. I would say that this happens to me 90% of the time I try to buy something online. And then my last tip is for things like subscriptions, whether you do Hulu or whatever it is, try canceling your subscription, because before you actually like physically all the way cancel it, even if you still want it, they will probably give you either a free month or a half off month, or, you know, here's a month for $5, whatever their little thing is, because they don't want you to go. I have one thing that I do that I will do this every other month, and every other month I get a free month because they don't want me to cancel. That's it. Those are my top tips to save money as a large homeschooling family, or even just a family in general. I really hope these help you out. And if you have any money saving tips, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe because I have lots of good content for you. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next week.